just when it starts getting round towards the lap times, I'll drop the sound down and start
Okay,
talking.
great. James, we're not running the same video. Just so you know, don't worry about it.
Are you running the car info one?
Yeah.
Ah, okay. I put the. Do you know what? If you don't try these things, you don't learn.
Okay. It's the first time we're trying something like this.
It's
So we're coming into the bus stop now.
Hi everyone and welcome to Daytona 2 hours with Charged. Super excited. I'm here joined with both Niels and James as we are cross streaming tonight.
Yeah, I'm
Guys,
really excited for this. We're trying something new. So we have 2 streams. On our main account, on our main channel, we will have the A split. So there will be the 919s will be there in as well. And on our second account, we will have the B split with a lot of the GT3 drivers. So it's going to be really exciting. It will definitely be worth watching one or the other. We will try and give updates throughout the race. But yeah, it's looking like a really cracking race.
yeah, hopefully it'll work. And if you didn't tell, unfortunately this intro was slightly out of sync. I don't know how much time we've got between the qualifying, but we'll play the one that was supposed to go first. And we'll do that for right now. But I don't know if James is still with us or if he's jumped
Yeah,
across
I'm
into
here.
the.
I'm just been very quiet. Hello, Twitch. We're on Charge Game Nights and twitch.tv/Charge Sim Racing. I'll be hosting Split B today, while Tommy and Fyodor will be doing Split A.
Also, yes, both streams will be streamed simultaneously. So I saw somebody who managed to look at both at once, but you can watch one back later. They'll both be exported to YouTube, where you will be able to see them later.
Perfect. Well,
So yeah.
what we'll do is just while qualifying's setting off, we'll have enough time before the fastest laps start coming in to just show you the other video, and then we'll be all set for a whole 40-ish minutes of qualifying. Enjoy.
Although Split B will be a slightly shorter qualifying session, as it's only GT3s for me, so.
All right. Well, that's good for you. Right, guys, we'll be back very shortly. Oh, da, da, da. we go. We're back, ready to see how the times are going to be looking.
Yes. Also, something really important we haven't shared yet. This is a split qualifying for a split. So the 919s will have there will be 20 minutes of qualifying, 20 minutes of qualifying for the GT3s, and then there will be a 5-minute break in which the LMPs can get ready, and then we'll have 20 minutes of LMP qualifying. This is so you don't get trafficked on your hot laps, which is terrible as an LMP1 driver. Makes it a bit more fun for everyone. As we see these cars going around the track, Tommy, would you share your screen, please, so I can see the action real time?
No.
While they're
That's
sorting
not
that
very
out for
nice.
Split B on here on Charge Game Nights, it will be a 20-minute qualifying session, which has just gotten underway. People are just starting to set their first flying laps. As Nuji with a very nice 146.0 dead. I think Nuji's definitely going to be one of the qualifying heroes today.
Yeah, I think Louis the top of the pops round this one.
Oh, I don't know. We'll have something to look forward to because we know on one lap pace the SSG the Glickenhauses are a lot fast. I'm not even gonna try.
You know what? I would put
No.
money. I would put money on Hawkworth for an outside chance at pole position today.
Yeah,
He's been
no,
really,
he has
he's
been
been
really quick.
really quick all week in that SCG, and I think it does have a bit more one-lap pace than the Audi. Audi's not my favourite GT3, especially around this track. I know the Glickenhaus. This is kind of really one of the only two tracks it works on, along with Le Mans. But I would definitely not count Hawkworth out. He has some incredible pace, so we'll see how that one goes.
There are AMGs, but I don't. Are there actually no? There no. It seems there are no AMGs in the A split, which is something interesting.
I heard
Actually,
that
no, there are.
Lowy decided not to run the AMG because he decided that would have been too easy. He gave himself a bit of a challenge by running the Audi.
It's a bit sickening for everyone else when somebody's saying they've got that sort of chat.
I think
Yeah,
that was in jest.
yeah, probably. Because we see this is a Daytona. The track itself, it's a really fun track. It's on the surface it seems quite easy, but the corners, the bus stop, T1 are really challenging to get just right. As we can see here, Portal Maker just entering T1, and it is so hard to get that perfect T1 hooked up. You see people constantly running wide or just going a bit too far. Yeah, that's something really important. And the bus stop as well is one of the hardest corners. It is really tempting to cut a little bit. Cut quite a lot of the bus stop. But we put some measures throughout this week. We've put some measures into it thanks to Cheesy and Ramos for helping us get all these measures sorted. So there are a couple curbs now, as you can see. These look quite big, but if you drive nicely and within the lines, it'll be okay. And if you go in way too fast with the idea of cutting the corner, you'll have to slow down or you'll fly out of the map.
Yeah,
So, off the map.
Portal Maker
Yeah.
could
So-
end up sort of
Portal
living up
Maker
to his
could
name
end up
if
sort
he
of living up to his
catches a
name
curb the
if
wrong
he,
way.
catches a
Yes,
curb
he
the
will.
wrong
Tommy,
way.
could you try and share redo the stream again because it's not working somehow. Some
What?
working fast.
There's a stream
sorry.
thing?
The Discord stream.
Oh, the Discord stream.
Notice
Right,
the
okay.
mini heart attack there. Sorry for giving you a heart attack there, Tommy.
Honestly, I'm going to put my hands up, guys. I was slightly caught on the back
Yes,
foot,
it's working now.
but things will hopefully be going. If there's any problems throughout the stream, obviously let us know what's going on. Believe it or not, I know somebody was saying about James. James has turned up full blast on my Discord.
Yeah, James is quite.
I can
quiet.
come a little bit closer when I'm talking to you guys, if
God.
that's
Oh,
all right.
yeah.
It's fine on my. I've can set my own levels for my stream, but yeah, when I'm popping in, I will make sure I shout. I tell you what, I've only got 13 minutes of qualifying left, so I'm going to head over to interviews 2 and commentate the rest of qualifying for Split B. So I'll catch up with you guys after we're done here.
Fantastic.
Right, we'll
Good
see you in a
luck.
bit, Tommy.
I
Neil's
hope
back.
that's all good.
See you in a bit.
Anyway, hello everyone, we are finally here. I'm free. Here we are on twitch.tv/charged game nights with the Split B today for our 2-hour Daytona special. This is, of course, a repeat of our first ever event that we ran at Charged, which was the 2-hour multi-class endurance with the stock Kunos GT3s and the Porsche 919. I think there were only 8 people in that race that day, but I'll tell you what, that's the best racing I've had with 8 people. Anyway, here we go. Currently, as predicted, Nuji is setting really, really good times with a 1:45.5. Currently in provisional pole here in Split B. Fox is the next best car, 7/10 behind in second place. Fox is, of course, running the SCG Scuderia Glickenhaus, which is kind of a bit of a bizarre outlier in the GT3 field. I believe it's a GT3 spec, but not homologated due to the low amount of numbers made for the cars. It's kind of a weird car if we go and have a little look at it now. We're currently looking at Boz. Let's go have a little peek at the car. As you see, it's a lot more kind of angles and aero bits than you would normally expect on a GT3. The car does have quite a lot of downforce, but it weirdly lacks mechanical grip. It's incredibly fast in a straight line, even though it has the same amount of brake horsepower as the rest of the GT3s, but it does struggle on brakes, and also it drinks fuel, so it's a bit of an outlier today. All the other cars should be able to one-stop this race, but the Glickenhaus will be two-stopping. It will not go longer than about 50 minutes on a tank of fuel, so it's just outside of that fuel-saving radar. Yeah, it will be two-stopping, but of course you can then run softer tyres potentially, so there are options there. After Fox, we have Farwell in third, not far behind. I tell you what, from Fox down, it is really, really tight. We have Gumi, Boz, Alfredo, Zibuchu, Disparty Hurt, Michael Ziomi, and Ority all really within about 1 second so far, and there is still 10 minutes of qualifying to go, so anything could happen, but I definitely think on one lap pace, Nuji's going to have qualifying pretty much just sorted. He was one of those drivers, along with Fox, who were just on the cusp of getting into Split A, but of course, splits were done on timings this week, so it's a bit of a shake-up because the 919s, which are running in the Split A, are pretty much for the licensed drivers only, but the GT3s are open to licensed and unlicensed drivers. So you kind of get a nice mix to have licensed and unlicensed drivers in the same class on the same track at the same time, which is kind of a rarity here at Charged. So you will see. Yeah, that was how we decided the splits. The cut-off time was due to time set on our server, which had an S-tracker during the week, as Boz gets really close to the sausage curbs there at the bus stop, which have caught a few people out so far today, and I imagine, 2 hours trying to avoid those is going to be a little bit difficult. I mean, they were put in place to make sure people weren't just cutting the track every single time. It's very easy to do. I've done it myself. Yeah, Weok, the midfield is super, super close, I have to say. From Fox down, it is really, really tight, as Farwell has now taken provisional second, but only 4/10 off Nuji. And I'll tell you what, with pace like that, that's pretty much close enough. I think if anyone can get in and give Nuji a run, that might stop him from running away today. Boz is also not far behind. The times are nice and tight so far. But yeah, it is definitely a unique opportunity. Some of these guys will not have raced with each other before or for quite some time, so it's nice to have a bit of an interesting mix-up. As far as the rest of the cars go, the GT3s from Kunos are genuinely quite balanced on most tracks, but of course Daytona is not a typical track. It's pretty much no corners, a whole lot of top speed. You don't need any aero for this track, really. You've only got really 1 or 2 high-speed corners, and they're, little tiny chicanes and kinks, so it's about top-line speed and being able to get your car to rotate as well as possible, as Farwell seems to have disconnected. Hopefully he can get back in for the end of qualifying. But yeah, so the balance is thrown a little bit out on these GT3s, which is why we omitted the Lamborghini and the Z4, because the Lamborghini has incredible top speed, and it's all round okay everywhere else. So that's definitely the obvious choice for this track. That was the car I ran when we did this event last year, and it was definitely worth almost about 7/10 a second, I reckon, compared to the other cars. As Fox, it's a provisional pole in the first sector. That's a purple sector from Fox, looking very good, 2/10 up. Other than that, we have the Z4 has also been omitted because it has honestly one of the best top speeds of the GT3s, and it's really good everywhere else, and it's very good on tyres and fuel, so it's honestly a little bit overpowered. When we have run the Kunos GT3s before, we always give it a little bit of BOP, because it's kind of, lap time wise, it ends up being pretty much the best GT3 for most drivers, not all but most. Other than that, we have the Porsche and the McLaren, which are not terribly well represented today. I think there's only one driver in each of those. Both those cars are going to struggle a little bit on top speed. They need a lot of rear wing. to get kind of functional, and the McLaren is always down on top speed. It's definitely geared towards acceleration. So that leaves you with the Audi, the Mercedes, the Glickenhaus, and the Nissan GT-R are the most popular options today. They're all kind of somewhere in the middle, gearing more towards the top speed rather than the cornering ability. No one chose the Ferrari today in the split because the Ferrari again is Das Party Hut just gets a little bit of a tank slapper there through the bus stop. Luckily, no harm done. He's got time to get another lap going on. But yeah, it's nice to see how each of the cars have their own strengths and weaknesses. A lot of the Glickenhauses are running really high in qualifying so far, but again, they're going to have to make up almost a pit stop's worth of time during the race, as my phone is next to my microphone, sorry. As Lantern has joined the race as well, I believe there was a bit of confusion over which split he was in, but I believe he didn't set his best time during the week on the S-Tracker, so that might have ended up putting him in this split, but I would say Lantern is definitely one to watch, and if Raf MH turns up as well, he will also be another one to watch for the potential win today. Lantern driving the Audi, it's going to give him a nice kind of stale platform to work on. He will almost certainly be running Loewe's setup as well for that car. Lantern and Loewe good friends. Although, nice livery here for Lantern. This is Ramos's Avengers Iron Man livery, which he made. I believe he started and was going to run it before he decided to change to the Glickenhaus, or the Glockenspiel as it has become affectionately known in the Charge staff. But yeah, very cool with its arc reactor wheels, looking very cool there. Nuji is running this nice purple livery today, which looks really, really snazzy. I like that a lot. That's nice and clean. We also have Fox, always the maker of interesting liveries, with this fantastic kind of BMW asymmetrical livery. This is really good. It suits the lines of the car really well. It kind of reminds me of the M1 Pro car vibe with this car. It's a really nice livery from Fox. I always like his work. You can just see coming up to the bus stop. It's scary. Watch out for those sausage curbs, man. I'll tell you what, if Fox times this right, he is going to pull all the way to the start-finish line. I'm not sure if he's on a hot lap or not. I think according to his times, he's on an out lap, so that won't entirely benefit him. If this was a hot lap right now, he'd be getting pulled to the finish line by Michael Ziomi. Other than that, we have Boz, who always makes, again, fantastic liveries. I love this Honda My Earth Dreams kind of inspired livery. Really like how this looks. I especially like the Honda logo on the engine cover. That just looks really clean. Top marks to Boz again for liveries today. He always makes good ones. Here we have Gumi running the default spec livery, also in the Glickenhaus. Alfredo running, I believe this is one of the standard Porsche liveries from the default game, but he's got a Charge logo on it, so very, very nice with some Brum Brum logo. Shout out to his Brum Brum teammates. On the back of his car, we have Zibuchu. Oh, this is really nice. This kind of gives me early Team Speedo vibes here. I'm sure Ren will be appreciating the graphic design there, but that's a nice colour palette from Zibuchi there, and I like his logos too. That's a very nice car. A lot of effort today on the liveries. I'm very appreciative of it. Das Party Hut with this, which is absolutely, let's call it James inspired. With some great stickers there. We've got I don't even know what half this stuff is. But either way, there's definitely some Burbs. We've got some Sabine Schmidt, some Max, Lego Yoda. Go Drunk Boys, We're Home. A whole bunch of Alf, Sabine Schmidt, Queen of the Green Hell. Maybe not the wording I would have chosen there, but either way, nice one from Das Party Hut. If Arity with a very nice clean green skin here. Michael Ziomi with a nice kind of camo-inspired one. Again, this is really nice. I love the colours, and I love how this all blends together. That's a really nice skin. We have Finn. Oh, I like in this. This is a Marlboro McLaren with some cool flags on the top. Shout out to all my homies watching Charged. Some Scottish flags as well. Nice livery from Finn. Really appreciate that one. Darwell running a spec skin today. I think this is only the second or third spec skin we've seen so far. The effort today is astounding. I love it. Nick 20 with the stock GTR livery. And here we go. The one I've been waiting for. Shiny Waffles. Every week Shiny just knocks it out the park. Beautiful livery. This is absolutely stunning. I love the colours. I love the lines. It all panel matches. It just looks brilliant. Shiny Waffles is really one of the best skin makers in Charge. So top marks. This is an absolute stunner. Really love this one. Next we have Farwell in a spec skin. There's me in the pits. And Raf Hodgson has finally joined. He's doing his first laps at the end of qualifying. Get out there, Raf, and do a lap, man. Of course, Raf was my teammate from the 4 hours of Magello, and we took victory in the GT3 class. He was also driving a Mercedes that day, but not quite this one, but a very similar one, but not quite the exact same. Hopefully Raf can get out there and do some laps, because he was one of the fastest times on the S-Tracker for this split, so hopefully he can get one good lap in, and I'm sure in 2 hours he'll work his way up towards the front. As we're going now, Nuji is still on provisional pole. He's got a good 4/10 clear of Lance, although I don't know what happened to Farwell. I think Farwell has changed cars, because he'd set quite a competitive lap, but something has happened. I think he was only about 4/10 off from Nuji, but for some reason he has left the server, and his time seems to have gone. He seems to have come back out in the Ferrari. Let's see, is he on track right now? He is on track, so I'm not sure if Farwell will pick the wrong car. Who knows? But yeah, as it stands, Nuji is currently on provisional pole in that Nissan GTR. Let's go on board with Nuji, see what he's up to. He's currently almost half a second up on his first sector, so this is looking really good from Nuji. Oh no! Oh, this is Nick 20. Hang on. Damn, autocam. He's not in the GTR. He's in the Mercedes. There we go. I believe Nuji is on an outlap right now, so he's definitely got time to get around and get another lap gone. How is Lantern doing? Lantern is plus about almost a second. He's probably abandoned this lap and going around for another one. Again, he will just about have time. Fox is also on an outlap. Again, that's going to be a tight squeeze to get to the line in time. Boz is back in the pits. That's going to be it for Boz. 4th place at best. I believe Gumi is also on an outlap as well, so let's see what he can do. He's going to have to do the big mad rush to get his final laps in. Alfredo is also starting his final lap right now, as is Zabuchu. Looks like everyone's going out all at once. Well, strap yourself in for the last couple minutes of qualifying, because a few things might change. And Gumi seems to have gone off, not quite sure what happened there. Oh, and he's just overcooked it going over the bus stop, looks like. If he gets a move on, he'll get one more flying lap, so go Gumi, go. Get that honey bun. Finn is currently doing a good job sitting in 11th place. Oh, though he's just overcooked it on his final lap, so that's going to be it from Finn. Unfortunately, a bit of commentator's curse in there, but that's definitely a nice lap time from Finn. Nice to see him getting further up the grid the more he goes on. Fox, again, really fast in Sector 1, but losing all his time in Sector 2. Let's see if he can pull this off here. Let's go on board with Fox. To the line, I can't quite make it out from his delta. Fox getting a bit loose there, and I don't think he improves. He's still about just half a second off Nuji. What can Lantern do on his final flying lap? Again, he's a little bit up on his delta, so Lantern needs to find some time if he wants to snatch that pole position. He's got traffic ahead of him. I don't know if that's going to get in the way for him. That is Gumi. Das Party Hut seems to have also abandoned his lap. Boz is in the pits. So I think unless Lantern can really have a miracle final lap, it's going to be it for him. He's now coming around the first part of the banking. If he gets the bus stop right, as Raf Hodgson with his one flying lap goes 4th place. I tell you what, that's going to help Raf an awful lot out at the start of the race. As we've seen at Daytona, he can be really, really quick when he gets in the groove. So I'm sure as the race goes on, Raf will get more and more confident and find time. Lantern's delta is going down the whole time. Let's see if he can get a good run. Oh, he's had a nice exit from the bus stop, and he's going to get some pull from Gumi if he can just get close enough and get in that slipstream. Although Gumi is strangely enough riding high on the banking, which is not the line. Get down on the yellow line, Gumi, man. Oh, and unfortunately Finn's lap has been abandoned. He caught some contact at the bus stop apparently, and it's a shame. I think going high there, trying to catch that draft from Gumi has just hurt Lantern. I don't think he's going to now have a chance at pole position. That's not an improvement, but 2nd place for Lantern off the line will definitely be good for him. And I think that is almost everyone finished. That is qualifying now over. I think Lanucci is the only person on flying lap. And I don't know if he's up or not, but he doesn't need to because pole position is already secured. And that will be pole position for Nuji with Lantern second, Fox third, and a surprise at the death fourth place from Raph Hodgson. Boz taking a fifth, Gumi sixth, Alfredo seventh, Sabuchu eighth, that's Party Hut ninth, and Ority rounding out the top 10. We're going to have a little bit of a break, and then we will have an awesome race coming up for you guys.
Back one. Oh, carbon fiber.
Hello, Tommy and Niels. It's me. I'm back.
Hi.
Qualifying is finished for Split B. How's it going?
All
Yeah,
good. We're
we,
just having a quick run through the skins. That looks really nice and clean.
yes, the Toaster's livery looks great.
Ramos, and he's.
Almost has gone camo away. Is there a car there? I don't know.
I can just see the wheels. I can't see anything else.
Yeah, there's a Union Jack floating in the air. Interesting.
And everyone's wanted to see the Corgazilla.
The
That's
Gorgazilla.
incredible.
Gorgazilla. It looks so good. Although it does look a bit of like his tongue is sticking out.
So I'll just give you I'll give you guys a quick rundown. So we have Nuji on pole in Split B. He was about half a second clear, no one could catch him. We had Lantern dropping in late and setting a really good time going second. I believe we had Fox in third place and Raph Hodgson taking fourth place, though he only joined with about 5 minutes left to go. He had one flying lap. Oh, it's actually about to start for the race, so I'll go back to my room. I'll see you guys in a bit. Oh, unexpected short distance there on the time, so here we go. Sorry, the race was starting also suddenly there. We are about to be go. And it is off and all. It's a slow start from Fox as Boz has made an absolute screamer off the line. Definitely a whole lot of tight running, and now the cars are 3-4 wide. There's been some contact. Finn and Gumi are having a little bit of contact in the field, but everything is okay. And currently Boz is going for first place. I don't know what's happened to my tower. Here we go, finally, and Lantern has taken the lead. Looks like everyone's just about getting through turn one nice and clean. A whole lot of argy-bargy as Raph has fallen down and gives Das Party Hut a little bit of a bonk into the wall there. Oh, now there's some death going on here, unfortunately. A whole lot of mess going on. That's Nick 20, that's Shiny Waffles. Whole lot of mess going on. It's a 2-hour race, guys. Take your time, take your time. But all is away. Let's go back to the battle at the front. Lantern has taken a nice top lead, passing Nuji off the line, and Fox is in third place. I think there was definitely some of these guys got off a little bit slowly, but eventually everyone got got away. Luckily, there's no one too far down. Poor Ority, Nick 20, Shiny Waffles losing out there, but it's a 2-hour race. Everyone's got time to get back in the groove. Now, if we go for the battle for first place, what can Nuji do as they get onto the banking? He's well inside Lantern's slipstream. If he gets a good move here, he could absolutely go for this lead. I'm sure Lantern's going to be very happy with himself getting the jump on Nuji off the start as Michael Ziomi passes Darwell for 8th place. But I think Nuji's got his eyes on potentially a nice tasty win here, so he's got to get a move back on. Raph having a terrible start, dropping all the way down to 7th, but I'm sure he'll work his way quickly back up if he finds his feet. Yeah, people running softs. I believe the Glickenhaus cars will be running softs because they will have to make 2 stops. And also that car is quite forgiving on tyres, so you can just about get away with it. That, of course, makes up for the time you will lose from pit stopping. Anyway, hi Gavino, how's it going? Oh, something has happened to Raph. He's all the way down in 14th. I think he's gone off at the bus stop. That's a real shame. Like I said again, it's 2 hours. Everyone has time to get back in the groove and get back going with the race. Looks like poor Boz also lost some places. He had a really, really good start off the line, but I think there must have just been some contact going into going into turn 1. Hello, Toaster. I assume all you guys are still in qualifying, so we'll keep it up as Gumi passes Finn for 5th place. Finn having a great start, all the way up to 6th place already, as Zabuchu and Farwell are also trading places. The battle for the lead is still closing up again. It was just down to about 3/10 there, but I think Lantern's got the superior exit. I think that that Audi's going to be nice and tidy through the corner exits, but I think through the longer corners, Nuji's going to roll right up as Nuji goes very deep right there. Maybe he's just trying to psych Lantern out a little bit, but he's now got Fox on his tail in the Glickenhaus. As said, the Glickenhaus will be fast in the race today, definitely, but its fuel usage will hamper its overall performance, so expect to see some of these guys on different strategies as Boz fights his way back up to 8th place after losing some places off the initial start. Definitely winners and losers today. I think poor Raf and Boz lost out a little bit, but Finn is absolutely my star at the first lap, all the way up to 6th place. Oh, see some big crunches going over the bus stop curbs. I've just turned the game audio up a little bit. I had to turn it down from the Fun Friday broadcast with those screaming V10 F1 cars. We are still watching Lantern and Nuji and Fox just trailing right now. Darwell and Farwell, the fight of the rhyming names in 9th and 10th right now, going for side by side through the final turn. Interestingly, Nuji was just about a 10th quicker than Lantern on that lap, so I think it's definitely, there are parts of the track where Lantern's pulling out and parts where Nuji's reeling him back in again, so I think that might be a fight to watch for a couple laps. And Gumi is off! Oh, I'm not sure what happened there. I think Gumi has gone off at turn 1. I'm not sure if he picked up contact, and that's a bit of a hairy rejoin, but I don't think Darwell and Farwell will mind too much. And oh no, that was terrible from Gumi there. Just, oh, I'm not sure if that was Gumi or that was Darwell, but either way, that was two cars that should not have been in the same place. That's a shame for Gumi. Hopefully he can get his focus and get back on his groove and back in the race. That did look a little bit like a bit of an impatient rejoin as Darwell and Farwell are still side by side here. As Farwell takes the lead through the kink, I'm sure Darwell can get back on him. Do remember, it's a 2-hour race, guys. Don't take any risks and end up spinning early on. I think my frame's looking a little bit crunchy at the moment, just because all the cars are close together. I did turn my settings down during the first part of the session, as Finn and Michael Ziomi are side by side right now. And this is the part of the track that's really going to hurt Finn. He's going to be down on top speed through the back straight section. But, oh, and there was some lag there. I'm not quite sure what happened. I think I saw Michael Ziomi's car lag, and they've both gone over the curbs. And oh my word, what a mess, unfortunately, for both those guys. That's a real shame. And Finn rejoins right into the path of 3 cars. Oh no. Oh, that's really rough. That's just, oh no. And there's a huge pile up. Everyone's piling in. That was... And Darwell is backwards on the track. A lot of bad rejoining going on here, guys. Come on, this is not acceptable. It's not good. Yeah, I think there was some lag there. Either some lag or one of the cars outbroke themselves, or one of the cars broke too early, and there was some contact there between Finn and I believe it was Michael Ziomi. That's a real shame those guys ended up having a contact, and then it was just a really impatient rejoin from Finn. You've got to make sure you don't do that, especially in a 2-hour race. But there's still an hour and 53 minutes to go, so all these guys can just regain their composure and get back on it. And there are more cars off here, Shiny Waffles and Raph Hodgson. Raph looks to be lagging a little bit, but he's already back up into 10th place after his first lap troubles, so we'll see if that pans itself out. Up the front, oh, and Finn is off again. Thought he was pulling off for a second there. I'm not sure, maybe he's having some trouble in the car, but we will see how it goes. Oh, sorry, we have some spam bots in the chat. Let me just try and... How do I get rid of this? Sorry, I don't know how to delete Twitch messages. I apologize for that. Oh, and Fox has got past Nuji. I'm so sorry for missing that. Oh, and Fox is off. I do not know what happened there. Oh, and again, it's the bus stop. That's such a shame for Fox, and he's going to have to let cars go right now. That is Alfredo taking 3rd place. Oh, that's such a shame for Fox. I think he was just pushing it a bit too much there, or he might have been side by side with Nuji and they had contact. Of course, the bus stop is such a scary place to attempt to overtake. Other than that, that has given Lanton a bit of a safe lead now, so he can take a little bit of time off and just chill out and get in the groove. It's really, really key to find your rhythm in a race of this length. It's Goomy getting a bit of a rough line through the bus stop there, but he's keeping on it. My FPS is back up to 60, so hopefully as the cars begin to spread out and the LODs dissipate, my frame rate will improve. But very excited to see Alfredo back in the top 3 after some antics from some other cars around as Nick 20 struggling to keep the car going there, and he spun it on the banking, that is. And Fox is off again. I'm not quite sure what happened there, but oh, Fox is having a really rough time at the moment, and he is now facing backwards. Poor Fox is still there, and he's just having to let everyone go. That's a really tough place to recover the car. There's nothing you can do. There's all these cars battling around him. Ah, poor Fox. Farwell is now up into 4th place. Michael Ziomi 5th. Boz is back up into 6th. Right now is a huge train of Glickenhouses all just fighting each other right now. Goomy running on the softs. Maybe he can get back in the groove. Maybe that's why Fox is having trouble. And Toxic is leading Split A according to Toaster by 1.12 seconds. Leading in quali, rather. Yeah, Toxic has been mighty fast in that 919 all week. But yeah, tandem yeeting over the bus stop curbs was definitely a bit of a spectacle, but they've got to be there, otherwise it's just too tempting. Oh, and Goomy getting his elbows out there, giving Ority a bit of a bonk. Oh, no, and that's ended up with Ority going round. That's not good. Goomy's having a bit of a little bit of a wrecking ball race today. Hopefully he can just calm down, but that's a real shame for Ority. That definitely just looked like a bit of a smack from Goomy there. That's a shame. But I have to say, putting some curbs to prevent corner cutting on the bus stop saves the Steward team a whole lot of work. So there's Zabuchi's rolling around in 8th place, looking nice and comfy. I tell you what, Nuji has caught up quite quickly back up to Lanton. That gap was over 2 seconds about 2 laps ago when Fox and Nuji had some contact. So let's see how quickly they can get back up there, as Boz has just passed Das Party up for 5th place. Good going, Boz. Oh, I think Michael Ziomi is back in the pits. I'm not sure if that's been a retirement from him. And also, I think that's Nick 20. Or who is that? Oh, no, that's me. Michael Ziomi. I'm not sure what happened there. Maybe he lost the car or he's something's come up. But that's me behind him in the commentator's car, so I'm not quite sure if... and Michael has come back. Maybe he just underfueled the car. Oh, that's a shame for Michael. But again, 2-hour race. You've got plenty of time to get back up there, as Nuji is now closing in on Lanton again. That gap has come down very quickly. Maybe Lanton's just been taking stock, getting his race groove on, getting back into it, and looking after his fuel and tyres. Maybe he can push a bit now Nuji is back. I tell you what, those sausage curves really do not leave any room for ambiguity at the bus stop. It's definitely more of a Daytona feature than a bug, I would say, the ability to run over the grass there, but I suppose in real life, taking that risk over the grass at 180 miles an hour is its own punishment. But in the sim world, it's a little bit hard to factor that in, and it is just so tempting just to come through a little bit too hot here, and you end up running over the grass, and you can potentially gain so much time there, and then carry it all the way up to the final part of the banking and the slipstream. There's potential to make a massive amount of time by abusing the track limits there. So these sausage curves will keep the racing fair, and they're going to punish any mistakes too. As Raf doing a good job moving his way back up to 7th, as I said. I imagine when Raf gets into the groove, I found he's very good on long stints. When Raf is focused and his internet is working and his RAM's plugged in, he's going to have a good race. And Nuji is right back up on Lanton's tail again, but Nuji looks a little bit rough through some of these lines. He's taking some wider lines, not quite hitting the apex, and something has happened to Zabuchi, who has gone off. Luckily, he's rejoining all safe and get back into the groove. Finn is in 11th place as well, so he's recovering from that really horrendous spin he had earlier. We are celebrating, of course, 1 year of Charge this whole month. Charge started at the beginning of April last year, and it was, for a lot of us, kind of something to do during the start of what became last year. But it's so cool to see how Charge has grown over the last year from being just originally 8 people doing a race just because they were bored into becoming a community that so many people are a part of now. And the amount and breadth and width of the races that we've had and the variety we've had championships, endurance races, whole kind of racing every single week. There's just been so much going on. It's really really satisfying to be a part of Charge and see just how far we've come, and we're now here a year later, and this is not the most like not the most accessible race. It's a long time and not everyone is going to be committed to it. We've still got 2 splits of racing, one of them multi-class, one of them GT3s. We've got enough of a community to where we can have different splits and different levels of ability competing against each other. It's really nice how kind of close and exciting the competition has become. And now Nuji is really closing up on Lantern, so we could see some action happening in the next couple of laps between these 2 guys. Lantern, of course, is a very, very experienced driver. He's experienced with long-form racing and endurance racing. He took part with me in the Tricky D team at Daytona only a couple months ago, as Das Party Hut looks like he's in trouble, and he's still eating the wall here, and he's got some traffic bearing up behind him. This could be a bit of a hairy moment. Luckily, Das Party Hut sees him coming and just moves out of the way. That's some smart defensive driving from him there, as Gumi's all over the back of Shiny Waffles, but Gumi is just getting on the grass and losing that place to Das Party Hut. I think Gumi's just driving a bit too angry today, and he's just overcooking it in a few places. But yeah, Lantern has the experience. Nuji completed his first endurance race in the Charge Magello 4 Hours, where him and his co-driver Sort actually finished surprisingly well and did a really, really good clean race. So still quite new and still quite raw, but Nuji has a whole lot of pace, and I think if he can beat Lantern today, that would be a good benchmark. Of course, Lantern is a fast and experienced driver, so it will be definitely interesting to see how these 2 get on. It's nice to see they've been so close to each other for the whole time, and both drivers have been consistent and smooth, and I'm sure we're going to have a great battle when it gets to it. Oh dear, I have a loud cat who's jumping on me, so apologies. Oh, and there's a bit of a mess going on at the bus stop here. There's a whole bunch of cars, Shiny Waffles and Zibuchi off as Gumi, Das Party Hut and Fox make it through. I think there was some side guys maybe side by side who just overcooked it a little bit, but luckily no major contact there. Everyone made it through unscathed. Fox is really desperate to get back up the grid after having those 2 early mistakes. That gap for P1 and 2 is still staying consistent. It really is interesting to see. Nuji pulls up through a few places, then he's dropping back later on in the lap. It's just different cars, different driving styles, different experience. It's interesting to see how it balances out most laps, but that gap has a big major swing when we go through the infield. Currently, Fox and Gumi are fighting over who gets to be number 2 Glickenhaus. Boss is currently leading the Glickenhaus brigade in P5. But I will say both those guys are going to be taking extra pit stops, so it's really important to get a move on when you get a fresh set of soft tyres. You want to be minimising your pit stop time too, taking less fuel and trying to really economise your entry. Make sure you're hitting your marks on your stop, you're not missing your pit box or reversing out, which I definitely did last year driving the Lamborghini. Zibuchi and Shiny Waffles side by side here through the banking. They're going to come up to the bus stop right now. Who's going to blink first? And Zibuchi is really not leaving Shiny Waffles much space. And that's really nice and tight. Shiny Waffles just slowing down a little bit there. And now Finn is currently getting the cutback on him. Let's see what Finn can do. Of course, if Finn can stay in the slipstream here, this is really going to help him. He's not going to have the straight line speed to pull past that Mercedes, but he can definitely stick beside Shiny Waffles and get the drop into turn 1 as Boz is off, but luckily he's recovering, so that's okay. Let's go back to Finn and Shiny Waffles. Finn is sitting in that slipstream. He's been forced to take the outside line though. That's not what I would have done. I would have gone to the inside if I were Finn. That would have helped him out there. He's going to have a better time through the infield, so if he can get on the brakes nice and good, he could get past Shiny Waffles here. Oh, both of them going a bit wide through turn 1. Oh, there's some contact. I think Shiny Waffles just stamped on the brake. Luckily, no harm done. Gumi is wide again. Gumi's having a really rough time. And oh, there's a touch there. And Finn, unfortunately, barging his way past Shiny Waffles. Finn, got to make sure you're running Helicourse, mate. Oh, poor Gumi's missing the apex again. I think he's just let himself get too angry. Let's hope Gumi can just settle down and get in the groove. Plenty of time left to go in this race. It is sometimes hard to beat those start of race jitters. It's a very nerve-wracking time, especially in the bigger races. Let's see what can Das Party Hut do here. Can he catch up to Fox? Of course, Fox in the Glickenhaus has superior top speed. The Audi's not too far behind though, so let's see if Das Party Hut can get his bus stop right. He could be right on Fox. Oh, that's a sausage curb! Oh no, that's an off from Das Party Hut, unfortunately. That was just too much speed, and you really saw how sideways he got there. That's why the curbs are there. It's catching people out. Hi, Naughty Dragon, it's going well over here. We currently have Lantern in the lead, and Nuji is not far behind at all. He's really caught up over the last few corners. We could finally see that fight for the lead that we've been waiting for since turn 1. Nuji taking a wider line there than Lantern. Let's see if he can use that and carry that speed. But of course, Lantern is very experienced on this track. He's going nice and defensive early on and just saying, don't even think about sending it there, mate. You're not going to get me. And oh, Nuji getting a bit over the grass there. Those bumps will hurt him on the exit. That's probably going to put him just out of slipstream range from Lantern going into the bus stop. But we will, of course, keep following these battles. Other than that, everything is fine here. I have a loud and fussy cat on my stomach, but, you know, she's settling down. Oh, that's a shame. If Nuji had just gotten his line through that final corner before the banking correct, it could have put him in premium slipstream range. Let's see, how is everyone's bus stop? Of course, Lantern's going to be really good through this corner. He's driven it an awful lot. Oh, Nuji just overcooking it on the grass. Again, a little bit there, and he's falling back. But he's just feeling the absolute whispers of slipstream. It'll stop him from falling back too far, but Nuji could have really caught up to Lantern there. It's just making sure you hit your marks every time. Of course, Lantern has a supreme amount of kilometers on this track, so he's going to be really comfortable and consistent with his lines today. I think Nuji probably has the pace advantage, but Lantern's consistency will probably prevail. Again, almost identical lap times between these two guys here. That time is just for the taking if Nuji can just knuckle down and focus and hit his marks every time. Das Party Hut and Zabuchi have been battling for a while. These two guys are still on it. And once again, you see all through the infield, Nuji is just catching up again. Lantern looking really smooth. His lines again just coming through the horseshoe. He's managing just to pull time on Nuji every single lap. Lantern's got the experience, he's got the lines. Let's go and see from Nuji's perspective, can he close up during the bus stop, or is he going to fumble over the grass a little bit again? It's a fantastic battle between these two leaders. It's been going for 20 minutes now. Are we going to see them fighting for the whole race? I'm sure at some point when one pits, there's going to be a change in strategy. And oh, this time Nuji's being really cautious over the bus stop, maybe a little bit too slow, and both of them get bad exits there. So, but again, I think Lantern just gets the better of Nuji. It's going to be another lap, I think, for these guys. Let's stick on board with Nuji right now and see where he's making up that time from Lantern at the start of the track. Das Party Hut and Zabuchi is still going back and forth. Alfredo's sitting really nice in third place. He's fallen back a little bit from the two lead pack here, but he's got a nice gap to Firewall, and it's a shame that Boz and Fox and Raph haven't managed to make their way back up entirely just yet. Raph is in 5th place though, and he's recovering well, but he's still got 15 seconds of time to make up, so definitely don't count Raph out just yet. And I think this is where Nuji's making up his time for these kind of longer, slower corners that Mercedes just rolls through, as we see the gap coming down by about 2/10 just through that corner. Oh, and Das Party Hut has had an off. That's a real shame. Where has this happened? I think this has been on the exit of the bus stop. Once again, those curbs just catching the less experienced drivers out, but he recovers all safely, so that's all good. Oh, Goomy once again going very deep, and Shiny Waffles and Finn are still side by side going into turn 1. We got an off from Boz, but Finn just overcooking it there and having a little bit of a tap with Shiny Waffles. These guys have just been going for it. Boz is now back on track. Let's see what Finn can do. I'm sure Finn will be definitely back up at all in there. That McLaren is going to be really nice through the infield. I will say Finn is running my setup on that McLaren today, so he's going to have a nice stable car that should help him to find the time. Once again, that gap is still coming down between Nuji and Lantern. It's just been fluctuating. I think Nuji's definitely in the slipstream here, though he's not quite behind Lantern's car. Once you get under 4/10, you really feel the pull. I don't think Nuji will quite get close enough into turn 1. It's too far to send something, but again, it's very cautious and early on the brakes from Nuji. But I think that's just allowed Lantern to get a better exit, and the gap is just trundling back up again. I have to say, if Nuji can sit in Lantern's wake right now, this will be a really good opportunity just to practice following another car, learning Lantern's line, seeing where he's quick, seeing where he's slow, and when the time comes he could absolutely mount an onslaught and go for it. But definitely through turns like 2, 3, 4 and 5, Nuji is catching, but the rest of the lap Lantern has the advantage. You see Lantern's having to take these defensive lines, covering off the inside, it's compromising his exit. If anything's going to happen, it's going to be now coming out from this final corner. If Nuji can get a good exit, he will be really poised to slipstream Lantern going into the bus stop. Again, I think Nuji just caught a bit at the inside curb and the gap is going back up. Every lap, Lantern is pulling out 2, 3, 4 or more tenths through that final horseshoe before we get on to the banking, and that's such a shame to see how the gap goes back up. Nuji's just got to get focused and get that line right. Every lap I see him just cutting it a bit too tight and it's bumpy out there and there's not as much grip. As Finn and Ority are now battling as well. Finn has really been having a whole lot of wheel-to-wheel action here today, and he's really close with Ority. Ooh, and Das Party Hut getting really late on the brakes there. These guys are super close. This battle for 10th and 11th place. Oh, and Raf has had an off. Oh, looks like Raf has just fallen foul to the curbs at the bus stop, and I think he's about to get gobbled up by Fox here. What can Fox do? Of course, these two had a good scrap at Magello as well. They were quite close to each other on track towards the second half, and Raf hasn't lost out too much there, but that's going to hurt his chances of making his way up into the top 4. I'm sure he's going to have a great opportunity to fight Fox over the next couple laps. And already he's been in the slipstream and recovering time, so it's a shame. Almost 10 seconds of lap time lost there from Raf. He's another driver that's experienced Daytona. He's run it recently, so you should definitely be familiar with his braking points. But with those curbs there, it's just going to catch you out if you aren't prepared for them. Now getting to that part of the track where Nuji closes up again. He seems to have gotten a better exit from the horseshoe this time, but through the bus stop I think Lantern again is just getting a better time. Although I'm not quite sure, I think Lantern's entry was really good, but his exit wasn't so great. And now Nuji is really, this is the closest he's ever been. I think if he can just keep it here, and Lantern's trying to go super high here to put Nuji off. And they are now going to be side by side crossing the line. This is the battle we've finally been waiting for. Half an hour of racing, of really, really close racing between these guys. Lantern is holding Nuji off though. He's got that straight line speed though. Just not letting Nuji get there, and Lantern's nice and confident with a defensive line through turn 1, and Nucci has had to back off, so it's going to take another lap or two. According to Pikaroshi, the Curbs have already had victims in Split A as well, so I will check in with Niels and Tommy. Maybe after this battle's died down a little bit. I definitely don't want to miss the move between these two because it's been a great race so far. Farwell did a good job in 4th place, just keeping it nice and consistent. He's got a good gap to Alfredo ahead of him and a nice buffer between Fox and Raph behind him, so Farwell can just get his head down and keep logging his laps. I think Lantern might have had his feathers ruffled a tiny bit by Nucci getting close to him on the start-finish line. And again, just coming through that final horseshoe, Lantern pulls out every single time. You think after half an hour of following, Nucci would have gotten his lines down, but Lantern is still just catching him out. Fox is currently keeping the gap between him and Raph consistent. I think if Raph can just get his mind focused again after that spin and get back on it, he can maybe give Fox a good fight. Oh, and something has happened to Fox, and Fox is off. I'm not sure if there was contact there. The gap was about 8/10, so I think either there was a mistake from Fox or maybe some contact, but unfortunately Fox is off, and Raph is now back up into 5th place. Nucci's further back this time, so again, he's just losing time through the bus stop on the horseshoe, and really your main overtaking spot here at Daytona is going to be slipstreaming going into turn 1, and so it's just another lap, another opportunity. Oh, and Fox is just having more trouble, unfortunately. He's now let Boz past. I think Fox just overcooked it there going through the bus stop, and maybe his strategy just hasn't worked here with the soft tyres. He's maybe overcooked them a little bit. He's just having some trouble. Shiny Waffles and Ority are off. Oh, that's a big hit for Ority, unfortunately. Luckily, there's no damage in AC, so he can get back on it. Not quite sure what happened there. Again, I think that might have been the bus stop claiming some victims. As we now cross the half-hour mark, that's 1/4 of the race down, 3/4 to go, and I'll tell you what, if the gap between the leaders stays this close for the whole race, I am so ready for it. It's been great watching Nucci and Lantern battle. Well, that's the first time that I've seen Nucci inch towards the 1-second barrier for a while, so maybe he's just taken a couple laps to drop off and take some stock, because Ority very late on the brakes, and unfortunately he has punted Nick 20. Unfortunately, Ority's ended up backwards. He's having to take the pit escape road here. Oh no, and he's reversing onto the track through turn 1. That is a really scary moment there. That's not good from Ority. I think he just underestimated the amount of brake power that the Glickenhaus has. It is not one of the better cars on the brakes, and when you are following some of these other cars, you have to brake earlier, as Lantern sets the fastest lap of the race, putting himself 1 second clear of Nucci for the first time in quite some time. Maybe Nucci's tyres are starting to get towards the end of their life, but he's got about another half hour till his pit stop, so maybe he just wants to take some stock and recover a little bit.
Oh, and getting caught behind the GT3.
Hi guys, how's it going? How's the race going?
It's going pretty well so far. Yeah,
Will made up 3 positions at the start there.
Nice.
So that's really interesting. We had a small collision at T1, but not anything major actually.
There was quite a large crash at T1 for us, and we've had a couple of... as Shiny Waffles has just spun at the bus stop. We've had quite a few cars caught out by the curbs. We've had some quite honestly bad rejoins and a few rear-ending punts as well. But the highlights have been Lantern and Nucci have been pretty much bumper to bumper for the entire race. Lantern managed to jump Nucci off the line. There was a bit of kerfuffle on the line as well. But since then, Nucci has been like within half a second of Lantern for the last half hour. They've had a couple side-by-side moments, but other than that, Lantern is looking really consistent and clean.
Yeah, it is looking great. With us, the LMP battle is really interesting. So Will Wadsworth jumped off the line and just got a cracking start there. Toxic lost from pole, went all the way down to 5th, so he's lost every position. So he's fighting his way back up to Mitchell now. And as the GTs are currently getting lapped, so that's also quite interesting. I haven't seen that many sketchy lapping yet. Salt taking it nice and careful.
I just want to try and just quickly check and see what positions are being gained and lost. But I think, nah, did this the last time, it's not working properly. Oh well.
Who are the GT3 leaders for you guys?
The GT3 leaders are Lowy, Perilla, and Hawksworth. Hawksworth is like on the ankles of Perilla, but he has to stop again, so he is running softs right now to like max.
Oh!
Oh, I saw some smoke there in the back. What happened?
That was Toaster nearly doing a front flip in the bus stop.
Whoa! Yeah, the Discord stream is having some issues, but seeing it showing now, damn, that's a massive jump there for him. He just went too deep and he just nearly did a front flip.
Right, here we have Nick 20 and Shiny Waffles really close and wheel banging all the way through the banking. What's going to happen through the bus stop? We're going to have any more shenanigans, and I think that we were getting through clean that time with those Shiny Waffles. Looked like a bit of juice on his angle there, but losing a bit of time, but luckily we're recovering. We did have, I think it was Nick 20 fully went to the moon on the sausage curbs and almost rolled the car. So they've caught a few unsuspecting people out, but I guess that's less work for the stewards with less all the track cuts to not look at.
Definitely, it's definitely a punishment. Catching the curbs.
Don't cut the curb. Don't cut the corner.
Exactly,
Easy.
Exactly. Oh, lovely through there for the LMP through the middle of the GT3s.
Yeah, well done.
A good battle between Redshift and Alan going on there.
With another another LMP there.
So what are your guys' top 3 predictions for your split in each class?
I think. Oh wait, what happened to Salt?
So is.
His 10 seconds back from Will. Wait, what happened to Salt?
I have no idea. I will quickly.
So we can go to Salt. Yeah, the Discord stream is having some issues, quite a lot of issues actually. I don't know why it just freezes randomly.
Okay, I'll hop back and catch you guys later then. Best of luck for the rest of the broadcast.
Worries,
Bye guys. Now we are back here on twitch.tv/charged game nights for Split B of our 2-hour 1-year anniversary Daytona special. And just as I come back in, Nuji and Lantern are closing back up again. It's taken a couple laps, but it's hotting back up. And I tell you what, Nuji's still cutting that curb way too tight, but Lantern went very deep there themselves. They have lap traffic coming up. This could again be another opportunity for these guys to trade places. Of course, we also have at the same time on Charged Sim Racing, our main channel, we have Split A with Tommy Ball and Fyodor. Is this going to be it for Nuji? What's going to happen? Lantern's going super defensive. Nuji will not be able to have a go at him there. That's again some really smart defensive driving from Lantern. That gap is just absolutely gobbling back up again. That's some really smart driving there from Lantern. He's saying, absolutely not. This is my lead. You can't have it. Although, Lantern himself is coming up to 2 cars side by side, going through the banking and into turn 1. These guys continue battling. I think that might be... not quite sure who that is. We will find out, but they are super close. And that might be Ority and Darwell. That might be the 2 back markers. And they are, oh, that's Darwell weaving all over the place trying to find a place around Ority. And he's gone super wide into turn 1. If I were Lantern right now, I'd be on the mic and I'd be saying, get your car out the way, boys. I'm leading the race. But the so famed Christian Horner strats that I used to very good use at Magello. Oh, Das Party has appeared to have had an off as well. Oh, not quite sure what happened there. That's a strange part of the track to crash, but either way. Nuji is dropping right back at the moment, but Lantern is currently really in the mix of it. He's having to get past these guys. Darwell should be getting out of his way. This car will be blue flagged. Get out the way, Darwell. Let Lantern through. I'm sure Lantern's screaming at him over the voice comms to get out the way, and I think that might be it. Darwell has now let Lantern through. That's going to be really good for Lantern. That's now given him a buffer between him and Nuji. Nuji will also have to find his way past Darwell and get back up to Lantern. If Lantern gets a good run here, he could get past Ority going into the bus stop. Again, he's going to have to be using that mic, using that comm, saying, get out and away, and Lantern gives him a very aggressive flash of the lights. Ority seems to be going defensive into the bus stop. What is he doing? But Ority lifts off and all remains safe, so Lantern is currently now 2 cars between him and Nuji. Nuji's currently stuck behind Darwolf still, and the gap is just going up and up and up. He's lost about 2 seconds. Now Shiny Waffles into the mix, as also appears to have had an off. That's intense moments from Nuji there. He's having to dart his way through the lap traffic, but he's now got all that work to do to catch back up to Lantern again. Boz having a relatively quiet race in 6th place. He was battling with Fox for a couple laps before Fox had a off, and as I say, that Boz runs quite wide in the horseshoe there. Lantern is now catching up to, I believe that is Michael Ziomi, so he's going to have to get him out of the way too. Oh, and Darwell has crashed with Shiny Waffles, and they are blocking the track. Luckily, they've got a little bit of time. There'll be about maybe 15 or so seconds until Alfredo comes through. They are both back on it again, but unfortunately, both these guys have had a fair bit of contact today. Lantern is now past Michael Ziomi and clear. Again, Lantern is a very experienced driver when it comes to fighting with traffic, so he's definitely going to have an easier time making his way through the traffic than Nuji might. We are now kind of almost entering the pit window for a couple of these cars. I imagine for the Glickenhauses they will be pitting anytime soon. For the other GT3s, the tanks on these cars are quite large, and the cars with lesser fuel consumption, you really can benefit from taking a lighter load at the start than having a longer stop. The tyres are also quite considerate with these cars. They're quite kind of forgiving, as Finn appears to be off as well. That's in turn 1. Luckily he's back going again, but he's going to lose the place to Das Party Hut. Finn's been having a good race so far. His pace has been good, but he's just had a couple too many incidents, and I'm sure for that rejoin earlier he will get quite a severe penalty. That was really excessive. But yeah, as I was saying, some of these cars are quite forgiving on their tyres and fuel, so you really can run light at the start and take advantage from it, and then carry a heavier load and look after the tyres towards the end of the race. When you get to the point where you're someone like Nuji or Farwell, and the car behind you is a long, long way back, you can afford to just pit a bit earlier, take some fresh tyres, then you're nice and consistent and smooth till the end of the race. You haven't got to worry about trying to push. But as I say that, Farwell and Alfredo are finally closing up. That gap has been slowly coming down for a few laps, so maybe we'll see those guys fighting in a little bit. It's currently Michael Ziomi, Nick, 20 and Ority are all super close together here. And that's Nuji as well, still stuck behind some of this traffic. Lantern does seem to be having an easier time fighting through this lap traffic. And Boz is into the pits, the first of the Glickenhaus stoppers, and I believe we have Fox also in on the same lap. I think Fox is running softs and Boz is running mediums. The medium's not the most popular choice of tyres, as Fox is telling me from the racetrack that the rears keep overheating. Thank you very much for that insight, Fox. Best of luck for the race. As Boz makes his way out the pits first. So it looks like softs were the most popular choice on paper, but if they're overheating, then it might not be worth it. I'm not sure if Fox will be coming back out on mediums, as Boz is coming back out into the lap traffic. Luckily, he's Lantern is through already. A little bit of a touch into the pit wall there, but will Boz yield for Nuji, or will he be holding him up? I think Boz is going to be very sensible there and just let Nuji through going into the horseshoe, but he's risking compromising his place there to Fox, as Fox is now saying, "Oi, I want to nab that place, mate." Talking about overheating, my PC is getting some chunky frame rate at the moment from all these cars close together on track. think Lantern lost a little bit of time there passing Nick 20 as that gap for Nuji just came down periodically. But I tell you what, this is great watching these guys fight through the traffic right now. There's a whole bunch of cars still racing. And now, can Nuji catch up with Nick 20? Because Nick is going to have that advantage from the straight line speed in the GTR, but I think he's taking a high line saying, look, go ahead, mate, I ain't trying to race you. Although it might look like Nuji's, Nick 20's glitching a little bit over the racetrack. Nuji is just clear going into the bus stop as I think Nick 20 eats the wall a little bit there, but luckily Nuji is now free and he's got a little bit of room. If we look from Nick 20, there's 10 seconds to Finn, so it's going to be a lap or two before these guys catch up to them, so maybe Nuji can start reeling back in Lantern and then have a go at him next time they're in traffic. Fox and Boz are still really close. These guys have been battling ever since they came out the pits. And Boz had to yield a little bit to Nuji to let him through and losing some time there, so maybe if Fox can get a catch-up in the slipstream here, let's see how close is he. Oh, Fox is struggling to keep that car behind Boz, and he's really late on the brakes there. Boz takes a wide line. I think Fox might just do the double overtake there, and he does. Well, Nick 20 and Boz, who both overshot a little bit there. That was a nice move from Fox, just keeping it nice and calm. But Nick 20 is coming back on Fox, and that's a ridiculous attempt of a move there, and that's a really silly move from Nick 20. Luckily, there was only a minor tap and no particular harm done, but oh. Yeah, Nick saw that the gap was never going to be there, and that was a really late lunge, and he's going again side by Fox. If I were him, I would just call it off because he's not quicker than these guys. Just let him through, and oh, I think Nick closed the door on Port Ority there, who has had absolute the worst luck today. He's been really beaten up by some of these other cars. That's some quite short-sightedly aggressive driving from Nick 20 there. Let's hope he can just calm down, let these guys go, because he isn't racing these two Glickenhauses here. They have been quicker than him. And that is a shame. Port Ority has been knocked back to 14th. I think that was some very aggressive moving from Nick that whole lap, unnecessarily so. The 2-hour race, you got plenty of time to pick your moves. Look at Nuji and Lantern, you know, they've been racing really, really close to each other for 45 minutes and they haven't had any contact. Those are two drivers who know what they're doing. Gumi seems to have had a quiet last 20 minutes after a little bit of some hair-raising antics in the first part of the race. Gumi has quietened down and he's slowly making his way up. Although, again, he is one of these Glickenhaus drivers. Oh, Port Ority's just having the worst luck today. He's off at the bus stop. I'm not sure if that was more contact or he just lost the car there. But as we said, Gumi should be coming into the pits anytime soon. He will lose a little bit of time, but he should probably only lose about one place. I think he'll probably come out ahead of Das Party Hut if he gets a nice economical stop. Up at the front, the gap between Lance and Nuji is coming back down, and Fox is off again. I think he's just fallen foul to the hot tyres again. That's a shame for Fox, but Farwell has got past Alfredo. I'm not quite sure when that happened. Let me just go. The autocam is messing with me. Something happened. Oh, Alfredo is in the pits. And that is an early stop from Alfredo. But again, this will be carrying him to the end. The Porsche is very, very elegant on its fuel. So maybe Farwell in clear air can get a little bit of a run and get a slight overcut on Alfredo as Michael Ziomi is in trouble again. Oh, no. Again, that's a funny place to go off. I'm not quite sure. That might have been some contact there, but Michael has rejoined. The pack is still remarkably close together, I have to say, after 45 minutes of racing. It's not spread out too much as Raf is off. Oh, and Raf has disconnected. That's such a shame. I know Raf does have internet problems occasionally, and I think that might have been it for him. That's such a shame. And Finn is also off. Let's go and try and catch him. Finn has gone off at the bus stop, and that's another scary rejoin from Finn. Maybe he needs to be sent a message and told how to rejoin the track safely. He now has Boz behind him, so I think Boz's butthole might be tightening up a little bit, seeing Finn come back onto the track again. But that is a shame to lose Raf. He had some good pace today, but I think he was just a bit unprepared and had some internet trouble. That's a terrible shame. As Lantern setting a 46.6, that's a really quick lap, and he's still improving despite 45-minute-old tyres. Lantern is really using his experience to control this race right now. I think Nuji's slight pace advantage is not really coming into play here because just the level of Lantern's experience and consistency is keeping his lap times on average better and better. think Nuji might be quicker through individual sectors, but over one lap, Lantern is just always cleaner and always more consistent. Farwell here looking to lap Michael Ziomi. Doesn't give him too much of a hard time. Of course, Farwell is now going to be really pushing, trying to make up some time and get ahead of Alfredo in the pits. Maybe Alfredo saw the traffic coming and he was like, you know what, I'm jumping in the pits and I'll worry about these guys later. Sending Farwell out into traffic might be all that Alfredo needs to maintain his third place over Farwell, despite Farwell looking a little bit quicker towards the end of that stint. I tell you what, it goes to show here that the type of car you take really doesn't matter, because we have an Audi, a Mercedes, a Ferrari, a Porsche, and a Glickenhaus in the top 5. We even have a McLaren in the top 10 and a Nissan in the top 10 too, so the car balance seems to have worked out quite nicely. Audis are, of course, the most popular choice along with the Mercedes, but it's nice to see that regardless of car, all this pack is all surprisingly quite close, and it's nice to see all these different cars battling together nice and closely. As Boz is doing a really good job of working his way back up the pack. He's now past Finn, of course. Boz has taken his first stop, but he is now running the soft tyres. I believe he was running the mediums earlier, so Boz could really be making up some time here. If he gets a fast stint and puts in some quick laps, when all these guys pit, he could make up places. Let's see how Boz's lap times compare to leaders as he comes across. It's a 1:49, that's a couple seconds off the top guys, but he's still quicker than the cars around him. Lantern's still controlling the race out in P1. Zibuchu is right on Gumi's tail here. Let's see what can happen. Gumi has been very quietly making his way back up the pack after a bit of a rough start. It just goes to show that if he'd managed to just keep a little bit calmer at the start, he could really be up with the leaders if he just kept focused. But I don't think that's anywhere near close enough for Zibuchu, and both of them compromised their lines through the bus stop there. I think Gumi over-defended and Zibuchu was just offline there, but that will allow Gumi to get a bit of a better exit. That shouldn't be a bother for either of those guys. Oh, just realised my mic was muted. Gah! I was saying I believe Lantern is currently controlling the race, as Boz looks to have had a bit of a bad corner and is escaping slowly. I think Lantern is currently controlling the race. Whenever Nuji gets a bit close, he can put a little bit of a squirt of pace on. I think that Lantern's kind of defensive driving has managed to hold Nuji off every time. Nuji hasn't managed to outthink him just yet, so when the pit stops come, it'll be really interesting to see if who pits first, and then what the kind of the overcut or undercut is between these guys. their lap times are still really consistent. There's always like very rarely more than a tenth in it between both of them. So, was Farwell really pushing the sausage curbs there and trying to catch up to Michael Ziomi? That was a risky move from him. Whew. Oh, that's a very hot Gumi coming in right behind there. And whoo, I bet that's probably the second time Boz had to clench in the last 20 minutes. That was very late from Gumi, but he has somehow made up time. I think Boz is currently really stuck behind Shiny Waffles after his pit stop. And Gumi is really going aggressive here, and this is some scary moments here for Boz. He's got Shiny Waffles kind of taking some poor lines, and then Gumi being ultra aggressive behind him. So I think Gumi's maybe forgetting he's in a Glickenhaus and going super deep on the brakes. And I think Boz has just got the drop on Shiny Waffles. That should give him a little bit of a buffer if he can hold it off, but I think Shiny Waffles got the better exit there. So it's now up to Boz. How brave is he? Does he want to go side by side through the bus stop? Shiny Waffles is forced high on the banking, and also that straight line speed advantage in the Glickenhaus is going to help here. But these two drivers are going to be side by side. I don't believe it. Now it's just who wants to be the biggest risk taker, and Shiny Waffles has lifted out, and he's also let Gumi through, but Gumi with an absolutely insane move there, completely cuts across the grass, hits a sausage curb, and he eats the wall there. That was really scary move. Gumi has been incredibly aggressive with his driving today, and it just so often it's not paid off. Just slow it down, man. Chill, take some stock, and take your time to think out your moves. That was really late. And I think Boz is going to be very, very glad to have both those guys behind him now. He can just get back to focus and putting on his laps and catching up that 12-second gap to Fox up the road. Again, Shiny Waffles taking some interesting choice of lines there. I think maybe his tyres are a little bit old. This great pack here with Shiny Waffles, Michael Ziomi, and Ority. All these guys super close together. Oh, we've just seen a Punterino there. Fox has just barged Nick 20 off. I'm not quite sure if Nick braked too early or Fox outbroke himself, but that's a shame. Shame to have some contact there. Again, Fox has just found himself in trouble a few too many times today. Oh, and Farwell and Shiny Waffles again coming into contact there. That was just a complete barge, and now Farwell is going over the curb again. I've seen Farwell doing that a couple times. We'll have to see if he is running the correct track version. That might be a cause of concern. And Nuji is in the pits. He has jumped first. I tell you what, if I were Lantern, I would come in straight away. Or maybe if Lantern is doing good on his tyres, he can get a little bit of an overcut. I think on empty fuel he will run quicker, but 31 laps, that is going to be a long, long time. So those tyres will be aching, but maybe that lighter fuel might carry Lantern off a little bit. As Farwell laps Michael Ziomi. I'm just checking all my pings. I've got quite a lot of pings right now on the Discord. The life of a Discord moderator. Here we go. I've cleared all of those. No urgent information there being missed. Let's see. That gap is currently still consistent, about 45 seconds between Lantern and Firewall. Let's see if that changes until Lantern comes in. As Fox and Finn are still battling. Finn has had so much fight in this race. He's been catching up to people, but unfortunately he's just found himself in trouble a little bit every now and again. But if Finn hadn't had those instants he would be a lot higher, probably within the top 5 if he managed just to keep it out of trouble. But really good pace from Finn here today. Just needs to work on settling down and avoiding those incidents. Now, will this be the pits for Lantern? He's got clear air ahead of him. If he has fuel, he can stay out. I think he's got quite a bit of distance. I think at this point, the gap seems to have inched up a little bit this lap. Maybe if Lantern, and I think he's edging towards the pits. Nope, not this lap, he says. I think he thought about it, but he's going to have another go around. If Lantern has fuel in the car, I would say go for it right now because he's got a nice clear bit of road ahead of him and he can just get those laps in. Let's see what happened to Nuji. Nuji, who is currently actually behind Farwell for position. So Farwell, if Farwell doesn't come into the pits soon, Nuji might get caught up behind him because of course that is for position. That is not a blue flag. Of course, Nuji is effectively ahead of Farwell on the road, but if Farwell can hold up Nuji for a little bit, that might really put the fight into Lantern's hands. As Nick 20 goes into the pits, giving Boz back 9th place. And Farwell has come into the pits, so that will be no extra battling for Nuji. He can now just focus on pounding those laps in. Looks like he also has some clean air at the moment, so he can just try and put as much speed as he can in and get back up there and try and reduce the deficit to Lantern and maybe get that undercut. But of course, the longer Lantern goes right now, he's still holding out. He's going to have fresher tyres and a less amount of fuel, which will put less strain on his tyres. So I guess the later Lantern can go, if he can keep putting the pace up on Nuji, it's going to help him. I guess Daytona is more of a fuel-dependent track than a tyre-dependent track, so all the tyres shouldn't hurt you too much here. I think having a lighter car, you will more than make up that deficit on the straights. We just see that gap going up another 10th or 2 during this lap. I'll tell you what, looking on Lantern's Delta, he is looks to be 0.1 behind his best lap here, so Lantern's still really putting on the fast laps as he gets a nice rocketing exit out the bus stop. This could be a fastest lap of the race from Lantern here. It would be a shame if he spoiled it now by coming into the pits. But I think Lantern is really putting on the pace right now. He's put maybe another second on Nuji in the last 2 or 3 laps. Again, he's getting very close to that white line. This is almost certainly a pit stop for Lantern, and he is coming in. He's really leaving it late there, getting absolute as much speed into the pit lane as possible. Of course, AC has no enforced speed limit, so you can just hoof it in. And I think that really, really good pace from Lantern those last couple laps is going to help him. Let's see if he gets a clean stop, and he does. Of course, Lantern is experienced at this kind of long format racing, so he knows what he's doing. This will almost certainly put him out in the lead, and probably with a good couple seconds to spare over Nuji. I think both these guys are going to come out in clear air as well, so they should have no trouble scrapping without the distraction of traffic. That's a nice, concise stop from Lantern there. And that'll be Fox, the nearest driver to him. He's probably a good 5 seconds up the road, so that shouldn't be any immediate trouble. And Nuji, oh wow, looks like he's lost a lot of time there. I'm not quite sure if that's exactly accurate there, but the gap seems to be about 12 seconds, as Nuji is currently coming through the horseshoe, while Lantern is clear of it. So Nuji seems to have lost a bunch of time from that pit stop. Either he got held up behind Farwell, or he was just lacking pace when he came out on those fresh tyres. Let's see how Lantern does. Let's see how Lantern does as he comes out the pits, because Nuji's times have been in the 47s the last couple laps, so maybe he's just struggling a little bit with those cold tyres and heavy fuel. Also, it is worth noting how much fuel these cars do have to take. I think the Mercedes uses a bit higher fuel rate than the Audi, so Nuji probably would have had to take less fuel in his pit stop, and also how well you optimise your pit entry and exit will really count to that. Again, I see Nuji just running over that rumble strip on that final horseshoe, and it's going to be costing him time every lap. If he just took a bit of a later apex, he'd probably be carrying some more speed up to the banking. Zibuchu now has come into the pits. I tell you what, this will be great to see the lap time comparison between Lantern and Nuji here. Well, this is Lantern's first lap out the pit, so we'll need another one. And Finn is off again, unfortunately. Again, he's been caught up by the bus stop, probably those curbs again. Such a shame. Finn has had really good pace, but he's just been finding himself in trouble just too often. As Fox passes Zibuchu in the pits, of course, that'll be Zibuchu's last stop. Fox will have to stop one more time, so if he wants that 6th place, Fox is going to have to get a move on and make up some time in the next hour. Lantern here looking to lap Zibuchi. And I think Zibuchi's making him work for it here, come on. Blue flag, man. And I think Zibuchi has lifted. Yeah, I think Lantern is using his smooth tones to coax the lap traffic out of the way for him. That's definitely far more of the carrot approach to my firm stick when it comes to lap traffic. Oh, and Nuji is in the wall after a bad run through the bus stop. That's really going to hurt him. He's going to be losing speed all the way through the banking now, and he's now fallen back behind Boz and another lapped car, so that's going to hurt him. I think Nuji just possibly overcooked it there, and I have to say, it really is looking advantage Lantern right now with 50 minutes to go. 15 seconds would be a mighty gap for Nuji to catch back up. If he can't do it, this could be a nice win for Lantern's day if he can just keep cool and do what he does. Alfredo is still looking nice and consistent in 3rd place. The gap has gone right back up again following the pit stops, as Finn is now into the pits. Farwell was really close to Alfredo, but I think Alfredo's early pit stop, it just let him get back in his rhythm. I think Farwell might have been struggling on worn tyres for a while. The Ferrari does tend to eat its tyres a little bit, so I think Alfredo seems to have third place on lockdown today if he can just stay out of trouble, which he has been doing. It's been a very quiet race for Alfredo. He's driven really well and just had a nice consistent time, and that's why he's sitting there in pretty in third place. Well, a lot of drivers who've been really quick today, but they've just not managed to stay out of trouble. Boz, we've had Gumi, we've had Fox, we had Raf. All these guys really quick, but they just couldn't keep the lap times consistent. Of course, that's when you get these long endurance races. It's about, you know, not how fast you are over one lap. It's like you might be 1 second faster for 20 laps, but then you have one spin and lose 20 seconds. What's the point? I'll just be taking a brief 2-minute intermission, getting a drink and going to the bathroom, so I'll see you guys in a minute. And welcome back to twitch.tv/charged game nights. Back here for split B of our 2-hour Daytona special with the 1-year anniversary, and as we are back, not much seems to have changed. Everything seems to be quieting down now for that final part of the race. We do of course have just under 50 minutes to go. And it looks like everyone's nice and close. Ority and Shiny Waffle seem to be trading places. Ority had the worst luck at the start of the race and ended up in a few accidents which didn't appear to all be his fault, so Ority's had a bit of a rough time today. Darwell has also retired by the looks of it. Possibly connection issues for him. Joining Raf Hodgson in the retirements there, unfortunately. Other than that, the gap to Nuji and Lanson seems a little bit consistent. Maybe it's come down by about a second or so, but with 45 minutes to go, Nuji's going to have to absolutely get a move on. We maybe have about 20 minutes to go remaining, 20 laps to go remaining in this race, and Nuji's going to have to put a second lap on Lantern. I'll tell you what, a 47.5 is not going to be it. He needs to be a good second quicker if he wants to start catching up to Lantern. We do have a nice mid-pack battle here with Zibuchu and Das Party Hat close together. Boz not too far behind. Boz will have to stop again though, so that might not be the strategy for him. Fox has made his way back up to 5th after the pit stops, but again, running in that Glickenhaus, he's got one more stop to do, and I tell you what, there's a very good chance he might come out behind Finn if he has to pit again. As Alfredo looking a little bit wide there, but still relatively consistent. Now what can Das Party Hut do here? Looks like he's going to be just about in the slipstream zone. Can he duck to the inside, or will he be forced to go around to the outside? Or just a bit of hesitation there from Das Party Hut as he lifts. I don't think he's going to get the move done here now. There was some good defensive driving from Zibuchi there, not letting Das Party Hut take the inside line, which would have almost certainly been a guaranteed overtake going into turn 1. But the fight is not over. What can Party Hut do? Again, this is some really good defensive driving from Zibuchi. He's saying absolutely not, mate. And here we go for round 2. Can Das Party Hut get the move done this time? Audi on Audi action here on twitch.tv/charged game notes. For all of your B tier charged content. And I think Das Party Hut's going to get the move done right now. He's managed to secure that inside line from Zibuchu. And he's taken that slipstream and got well ahead going into turn 1. Now how late does he dare brake? And Zibuchu just cuts in and barges Das Party Hut off. And unfortunately, that's given Zibuchi the place back. That is not nice. Well, regardless of whether Das Party Hut catches up to Zibuchi, that will almost certainly be a penalty. He was he was offline behind Das Party Hut, then came in directly behind him and outbroke himself and bonked him off. So not the nicest move I've ever seen. Well, it will show up on our stewarding report, so we will penalise appropriately. But I hope Das Party Hut gets an opportunity to catch back up to Zibuchi and get the move done on track. It's never nice to have moves decided due to penalties, as Ority is also off again. He's just having more bad luck. Oh, I really feel sorry for Ority. He had some really good pace earlier on in the race, but he just keeps getting himself in trouble, either through his own fault or somebody else's. That gap between Lantern and Nuji is just not coming down. Oh, I think I saw a little red line from Lantern there. I think Lantern might have had a little trip over the sausage curbs there. Possibly he could have been lapping Fox. I'm not entirely sure, but I think it might have been don't see it. I'm now starting to see. Oh, and we've seen the gap come down quite a lot there. I'm not quite sure what happened, but Lantern has just lost a big chunk of his lead. Now, this could be changing everything. If that gap is under 10 seconds, and of course that straight line hit is going to be hurting all the way down the line. I'll be very interested to find out what happened to Lantern after the race. Unfortunately, we couldn't catch that. Nothing showed up until his lane flashed red. By the time I clicked on it, it had already gone. But with a 10-second lead now, that's definitely less to do for Nuji, but I don't think it was coming down much at all before then, so we will see. Now it's hotting back up again in the battle for 6th place. After last time when Zabuchu just kind of said nah to being overtaken and bonked Das Party Hut out of the way, it looks like Das Party Hut has caught back up and is now well within slipstream range again. Are we going to have a repeat of what happened last time, I think? But Das Party Hut's been forced to take the high line here, and that is not the way to go. And see, then he does what Zabuchu did not do. And Das Party Hut sees he's going to outbrake himself and goes wide and takes the exit route. That, of course, loses your time, but avoids your contact. So nice driving there from Das Party Hut, showing what Zabuchu didn't do the lap before. But that gap is still relatively small, so I'm sure they will be back on each other before soon. It's nice in the Florida skies here at Daytona. We just start to see the sun go down a little bit, and should give these guys a nice twilight finish over the next 40 minutes. As Gumi has overtaken Boz, who is in the pits. Gumi, of course, will be coming into the pits relatively soon as well in that Glickenhaus. The Glicks still have one more stop to do. I believe Boz is the first of the Glickenhaus cars to take their second stop. I have to say, since Lantern's little adventure over the bus stop curbs, the gap has remained relatively consistent at about 10.5 seconds. I really don't believe Nuji is catching. So I think all Lantern has to do is avoid doing that again, and this win will be secured for him. And the rate Das Party Hut is catching up on Zabuchu is so quick. It's a shame because both these guys are kind of falling off the back of Fox with the amount of battling and punting they're doing, and Fox has one more pit stop to make. And if either of these guys could sort themselves out, they could both take 5th place if they stop fighting with each other. Stop trying to kill each other. As Fox has now pitted, so this battle between Zabuchu and Das Party Hut is for 5th place. They have a nice gap between Michael Zioni behind them and a huge gap between Farwell in 4th place, so I guess they are destined to do this for the rest of the race. I was wondering there if they might be able to make up the time, but I think Fox will be too far back by the time he comes out of the pits. Oh, Fox says he has radio charge, keeping me company. I'm sorry if I have trash talked you during this race, Fox. I very much appreciate the support and I wish you best of luck for the rest of the race. Oh, and Finn looks to be off again, unfortunately. It's the bus stop again. That's such a shame for Finn. He's been, like I said, he's been quick when he's been on it, but just needs to do a little bit more practice on car control. So you're welcome anytime, Finn, to join the boys in voice chat and hang out with us and get some practice in. as Michael Ziomi and Boz are trading places as Michael comes into the pits. I have to say, a race this long, a 2-hour race, it is nice to have some entertainment, especially if you have long stretches of hunting down someone or trying to hold someone off and you're just driving on your own for kind of half an hour at a time. So, well, I hope all the people listening in their cars are not too mad at me for pointing out whenever they spin or crash or criticizing some of their moves. Let's go back to this fight between Das Party Hat and Zibuchi. Party Hat is right back on him again. I don't think he's quite close enough to be in striking range this time around going into turn 1. But we'll see maybe throughout the lap. We'll see how these two guys catch up. I think I just had my mic muted the whole time. Bruh. Alfredo there taking an unusual second pit stop in the Porsche. That is, of course, not the premium strategy. Two pit stops are going to cost you more time than one pretty much whatever you do, especially with the Porsche having one of the best fuel usage rates of all the GT3s, if not the best one. That is definitely peculiar, and I think that is going to rob him of his podium place. If he'd taken 2 stops, it really wouldn't have made much difference to his pace, and he'd now be sitting in 3rd place. The gap is 27 seconds. He's going to have to get an almighty move on to catch Farwell. Farwell, who is running on hard, so I imagine he will be pretty much at this pace till the end of the race. But we shall see. As Finn and Ority are battling in 12th and 13th, they're two drivers who unfortunately have just had too much bad luck this race. Both of them have had good pace and have ended up lower down than they really should be. But this gap from about kind of 8th down is still nice and close. Any one of these guys could be making up places before the end of the race. Up front, the gap between Lance and Nuji is slowly growing but essentially static. I think the amount that Nuji would have to be cutting into Lantern is just not going to happen at this point. Lantern is just going to have to avoid making any trouble before the end of the race, and he should be completely fine. We're down to probably the last 15 laps. Sorry, I've done that twice. The last 15 or so laps of this race. And it's going to have to be a mighty push from Nuji. He's running 47.9. He needs to be a good 1.5 quicker if he wants to be catching Lantern. Oh, and that is really interesting. Alfredo has gone off. I'm not quite sure what happened there. Maybe he's just got cold tyres, but Alfredo, after such a consistent and quiet race, he now just seems to be finding himself trouble, and he's now let some lap cars back through. That's going to hurt him. The gap to Zibuchi and Das Party Hut, who are still at each other's throats, is not that big. So if Alfredo has maybe got something wrong with his pit stop, these guys could come into play. We could see a fight for 4th place. Unlikely, but we will keep you posted. Das Party Hut is still stuck behind Sabucci, who is almost certainly carrying a penalty for barging Das Party Hut out the way after a successful overtake. And Nuji right now having to pass both of these guys on the blue flag. Gumi is off again. Oh, Gumi just has had the most rotten luck today. Whatever he's doing, it just isn't working. And that's a really rough rejoin from Gumi there. Again, that is not his first of the race. Unfortunately, that is a bit of a habit of Gumi. He is really kind of rough on his rejoins sometimes. That's something he definitely needs to work on. Oh, and these guys are really close right now as Das Party Hut clips the curb. Luckily, he only loses a bit of time. I thought we were about to see him go to space there. But 31 minutes to go. Has Das Party Hut got the strength to muster up to catch all the way back up to Zabucci and pass him again? It seems every time he tries to pass, something throws up a spanner in the works for him. As Alfredo looks to be back on the groove and gets back past ahead of the lapped Ority, who gives him a little flash of lights because those two are friends. They are both in the Brum Brum Racing Team family. I'm sure Ority's spurring him on, saying, "Get it, man, don't let Zabucci and Das Party Hut catch you, go get that 4th place." This whole pack here, Shiny Waffles, Finn, Michael Ziomi and Ority, anything could happen with these guys. I'm sure they're going to be battling towards the end of the race. Oh, Das Party Hut now has 3.5 seconds to catch back up to Zabucci. I know he wants to get that move done on track because I'm sure Zabucci will end up with a penalty from that overtake attempt. Oh, and Finn just goes to space going over the curb, but luckily he keeps the car steady. That's what the curb's there for. They're there to unsettle you, but not absolutely wreck you and send you to Narnia. He got some significant airtime there, but it didn't kill his entire lap there. That's just a little bit of punishment for running over the curb, but not a race ender. And I don't believe it. Lantern is off. Something has happened. Lantern has disconnected. I do not know what happened there. Oh no, that is such a shame. I think Lantern might have just cooked it over the sausage curbs, and that has maybe it's just been too much for him, and he's now left the race. That has put Nuji into the lead. I don't think that would have been a disconnect from Lantern. I think he maybe just made a mistake and was just like, nah, I've had enough. That is such a shame to see that battle for the lead go. Nuji has now inherited the lead. I don't believe it. Well, just to show that 2 hours of racing, anything can and will happen.
I disconnected.
Oh, Lantern, you disconnected. Oh, thank you for joining me in the booth. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that, mate. Let me just pop your volume up a little bit so the stream can hear you. What happened? Just disconnected?
Yeah, I don't know.
I've never seen you disconnect before. That's so bizarre. Let me just turn the game audio down for a sec so I can hear you. Oh, you were having such a great race. I'm so sorry to see that happen.
Is what it is.
Yeah. How was it then, apart from the disconnect? How was your race?
How the Iron Man livery look on stream?
Awesome.
Then that's how my race went.
Excellent.
That's the only reason I raced was because Ramos put in the work and lent that to me. So I wanted to make sure that they got some screen time.
Oh, we got plenty of screen time. You had a great battle with a Nuji for a few laps there. I saw at one point you had a bit of an off over the bus stop. I think it was lapping a car. What happened there?
Fox was letting me by, and I just lost concentration.
Oh, that's a shame. Well, I'm really sorry to see you disconnect again, Lance, and that would have been a great victory today if you'd managed to to not lose internet connection. But best of luck. I'm sure I'll see you next time.
Yeah, I'll be in the split A next time. So.
Yeah, sure thing. All right, thank you so much for joining me, Lantern. Oh, that is such a shame. Poor Lantern with the disconnect there. Just goes to show that sometimes anything can happen in sim racing. Much like in real life sim racing, your car could blow up, but just looks like poor old Lantern had a disconnect there. That is such a shame from the lead of the race. And it's funny because the same thing happened. Lantern and I ran in the same team, in the Tricky D team, at the Arcus 12 Hours of Daytona Endurance Race. We were teamed up with Lowy and Alex V, and I have to say, that was a formidable team. And we disconnected in the lead with a 2-minute lead. I think Lowy had lapped almost the entire field, and we disconnected, and that ended up costing us the win, and we came in second place. Just goes to show that, unfortunately, that stuff just can happen sometimes. The pain of sim racing. So unfortunately it's 2 robbed wins for Lantern here at Daytona this year, but maybe next time, who knows. So I'd have to say now, with Lantern unfortunately out of the race, that is going to be pretty much a guaranteed win for Nuji unless anything happens to him as well. That would put Farwell second and Alfredo back on the podium. After his misfortune with strategy losing him out second place to Farwell. But I have to say, the fight between Zabucci and Das Party Hut seems to have quelled. Das Party Hut hasn't caught back up. Maybe he's just lost it. I don't know. He's just hit that limit after 2 hours of racing. Maybe sometimes you just can't do it anymore. You just can't find that pace anymore. But we shall see. It's been an hour and a half of thrills and spills so far, so I'm sure there is still time to come. Some very bizarre packet loss from Das Party Hut there. Something is going very wrong. I don't know if he's about to disconnect, or this could be a server issue or something. This is incredibly bizarre here. This is some major packet loss from Das Party Hut. I was like, what's going on? I looked at my screen and the car was sideways. Hopefully Das Party Hut can keep it under control here, and he's not lagging. Hopefully it's all okay on his end. But this is some very bizarre goings on. At least he's got a little bit of a gap between the lapped Gumi ahead of him, and oh no, this is not looking good for Das Party Hut. This could be it for him. I am not sure what's going on here. This is some extreme packet loss. And I think he has crashed. I think unfortunately he just got lagged out too much. And Das Party Hut appears to be driving the wrong way? No? I have no idea what's going on, but unfortunately I think that has ended his charge for a 4th place. That is such a shame. He had a really good race before this. Absolutely savage packet loss here. This is truly bizarre. But I tell you what, if this keeps up, this might gift Fox a 5th place, I have to say. And sadly, if Party Hut recovers, that's probably moved him out of penalty range for Zabucci for that knock, which really cost Das Party Hut and sent him back behind Zabucci. I'm sure he would have been several seconds up the road, maybe even closing in on Alfredo if he hadn't had this really unfortunate packet loss here. Looks like it's slowly starting to recover. Oh, and he's lost about a good 15 seconds just from this lap. That is such a shame. Sorry. Once again, it goes to show that endurance racing is really an endurance on your hardware and on your mind and body. Oh, my cat is back. Hello, Luna. Hello, Sim Race Cat. Have you come to say hello to the stream? Do you have any words to say? No? Meow. And with 23 minutes to go, all looks pretty quiet. I think the closest 2 cars on track are Finn and Shiny Waffles, who have had a fair bit of ding-dong in this race. These two have been battling hard whenever they've been close to each other on track. So that is, of course, the final place in the top 10. We have had some retirements today. It has been quite a high attrition race. We are down to only 13 finishes so far. But for that final top 10 place, I think Finn might, if he can stick up with Shiny Waffles here, give him a good whop for. Das Party Hut's connection seems to have stabilised this lap, and that gap hasn't gone up anymore. Well, that really has put him out of contention for 4th place, but with a bit of luck he'll be able to hold off Fox. I'm sure Fox will take some big motivation from that. He's on soft tyres, lower fuel, fresher tyres as well. That 5th place is his for the taking. I tell you what, after that first stint where Fox was overheating those rears, that'll be a really good result for him. And that'll make him the top Glickenhaus finisher as well, after Gumi, Ority and Boz. That is Luna saying hello. Sorry, I won't do that again. As Nick 20 is just being lapped by the leader Nuji, who is now pretty much on his own. I bet he was kind of enjoying the fight with Lantern, even though he was losing it. He wasn't going to win. I think he was still enjoying that. It's always more fun than driving on your own. I have to say, driving even in first place, driving on your own can sometimes be a little bit dull. I suppose at this point, Nuji just wants to just stay out of trouble and bring the car home after all that's happened today. Oh, once again, I feel so sad for Lantern. That was a real shame. That would have been a really good victory for him. Oh, and on the battle here for 10th, Shiny Waffles just goes over the curbs, and luckily he has to slow right down to avoid it, and Finn takes that place and gets up to 10th place. Finn is sticking with it and keeping in there, and let's see if Shiny Waffles can come back, of course. Shiny Waffles with that absolutely stunning looking Mercedes. It's the nicest livery today. It looks beautiful. Alfredo back on the podium after Lantern's misfortune, but it's a shame. He definitely could have had that second place today if he'd just got his pit strategy right. If you see, the gap between him and Farwell is about 1 pit stop's worth, so we could have seen him fight the line for second place if Alfredo had just taken that one less stop. Shiny Waffles is back on the tail of Finn already. Let's see what's going to happen. Oh, and a big slide there again. These are going to be worn tyres and just going through the dogleg. I think Shiny had a bit of a slide on there, but well caught. God, blasted autocam just switches away from the battle. What are you doing, man? Let's see. Oh, and this is really close stuff from Finn and Shiny Waffles here. Shiny's going to have an advantage on top line speed here. Except McLaren is really down on top speed. But I have to say, it hasn't done Finn any wrong at all. He's really used it. And look at that great move from Finn there. Just outbraking Shiny into turn 1. Using that McLaren's power on its brakes and rotation just to say, you got the top speed, but I'm in this nice little light frisky boy. As we approach the final 15 minutes of the race, we have Nuji in the lead, and something has happened here with Finn and Shiny Waffles. There was a bit of a gap here, but it's closed right back up again. And poor Nuji right now is having to lap both these guys who are battling super hard. Luckily, Nuji has such a big lead, he can just take his time and not take any risks. We have Nuji out in front after the heartbreaking disconnect from Lantern. That was such a shame. He had a good 10-second lead with about 20 minutes to go, and unfortunately Lantern's connection just gave up the ghost. So Nuji is now comfortably in the lead by a good 40 seconds. Farwell is in second place after a really, really good race. He has just completely kept it on the track and stayed out of trouble and set really consistent lap times the whole time, as Nuji is now free of Shiny Waffles, letting him and Finn get back to business. Alfredo is sitting really nice in third after a really good race, but he unfortunately missed out a little bit with his pit strategy, having to take 2 stops in the Porsche when he probably should have taken 1, but still a really good race from him. We have Zabuchu sitting in 4th place, who managed to hold off Das Party Hut with some slightly scary manoeuvres, but Das Party Hut has had some packet loss in the last half hour of the race, and it's dropped him back by about 15 seconds. Fox has recovered well to 6th place after some frantic spinning early on in the session due to overheating the tyres of his Glickenhaus. Boz also has recovered to 7th place, again after some couple early incidents and some irrational pit strategy due to the Glickenhaus's mega fuel consumption, putting him in a nice 7th place. Michael Ziomi is in 8th, and Ority, I have to say, has recovered so well. He had the worst luck today. He spent a long period of the race in last place just from constant being crashed into, and he got taken out a fair few times, but Ority's fought really well to get back up there. Shiny Waffles and Finn are battling for the last place in the top 10. They've been going back and forth for a long time, and something has happened to Fox. Fox is off. Oh, I think he's just given it up at the bus stop again. That's such a shame. And that will take him off Das Party Hut's tail. But luckily, Fox has enough of a gap to Boss. He should be able to keep that 6th place. I tell you what, Gumi is catching back up to Nick 20 and looking to relieve himself of that last place. Again, the Glickenhaus is going to be faster over 1 lap, but its fuel consumption has limited it to a 2-stop strategy, which has kind of put it out of contention for a lot of people, but you have to really be driving it on the limit the rest of the time and ragging the soft tyres around to get the most out of it to make up that gap between the multiple stops. Oh, and I absolutely do not believe it. I absolutely do not believe it. That was an absolutely insane move from Gumi. I don't know what he was thinking there. That was really bad. Just completely ridiculous. Gumi has been far too aggressive today, and I know that they're on their own and they're fighting for the final position, but that was just ridiculous. That was really, really not a good move from Gumi there. He was never going to make that corner in a fight in a million years. That was just a really bizarre, aggressive move from Gumi, and I think he is unfortunately going to be racking himself up quite a huge amount of penalties today based on a similar instance like that. It's really not what we expect. You cannot just dive bomb from that far back and expect to make that corner using other cars as your braking aid. This isn't you know, this isn't Forza 7. This isn't GT Sport. You just can't do that, Gumi. Come on, man. You're better than that. And Gumi is off the track again. I think he's just completely lost his head today. And we're gearing up for round 2 here. It's going to be Gumi and Nick 20 side by side going into the bus stop again. Will we see a repeat of what happened last time? They are super close. I think Nick is just falling behind, taking the high line here. Wonder, will Gumi go as aggressive as he did last time round on the bus stop here? And he's trying to squeeze Nick into the wall here. Again, this is just super aggressive, but looks like they're both making it through cleanly this time. And Gumi seems to does have a pace advantage today, so we should be clear of Nick 20 now, taking 12th place. Oh, and something has happened to Farwell. I'm not quite sure what's going on here. He seems to be lost in the... This is truly bizarre. I don't know what's happened here. Farwell is, at this rate, going to lose, and Farwell has disconnected. I'm not quite sure what happened. He might have run out of fuel by the looks of it. But highly bizarre there. So, yeah, not sure what happened there at all, but Farwell has now disconnected and will not make the finish of the race unless he comes back. That will put Alfredo back up to 2nd place. As Gumi is off again, I'm not quite sure what happened to him there, as Alfredo is now in 2nd place following that bizarre disconnect from Farwell, who was having a really good race. As the attrition of Daytona does keep going. For a lot of drivers, this might be their first time they've ever run a 2-hour race, and it definitely is a real kick in the pants compared to the usual 20-minute ×2 format, as Finn appears to have just had an off, losing a place to Ority. It's again going to be the Oh no, that's one of the earlier corners, I believe. I remember last year when we first ran this race for the first time, as Das Party Hut has also got past Fowl, who is disconnected. Yeah, I remember last time when we first ran this race last year, it was my first ever actual sim race, and I'd never raced for really more than 15 minutes, let alone 2 hours, and oh, my legs killed by the end of it. Oh, and Finn just appears to be in trouble now. I think he's just baked his tyres, and that's off again from Finn. He now appears to have Nick 20 hot on his tail, so if Finn can keep it focused for the last 4 minutes, he can hold him and Gumi off, and Finn is off again. I just don't know what's happened to him, unfortunately. I think he has cooked his tyres, and he is now down to last place. That's such a shame. Finn's run really high at some points in this race, but again, just car control and consistency he needs to work on for next time, because his lap time is definitely good enough. That's a shame. Bono tyres are gone, exactly, Gavino. As we're now just winding down with 3 minutes to go, that now puts Nuji in the lead by practically a lap, with Alfredo 1 minute 33 seconds behind him in second. Alfredo had a very good, quiet and just unbothered race. The gap between Zabuchi in third and Das Party Hut in fourth has come back down. It is now about 11 seconds, and although Das Party Hut will not be catching back up, I'm sure Zabuchi will receive at least one small penalty for that little bonk they had in turn one a few laps. Well, it was probably about half an hour ago, but yeah. But that might just be enough for Zabuchi if he can just hang on to keep that third place. Fox is sitting in fifth place, and he has now made another place. Farwell seems to have rejoined. Farwell has rejoined and is now in sixth place following his disconnect. That is such a shame. He would have lost a good full lap at the very least from his disconnect. So that is a real shame to see his really good race end that way, but again, that's just how it is sometimes, unfortunately. Oh, and Gumi is just being insane again. Hang on, let me try and catch this. That was, again, just completely flying over the curb there and almost causing more contact with Nick 20. I hate to say it, but I think Gumi really might be looking at a DSQ for this race, especially if we see any more insane antics in the last couple minutes, because some of his driving has just been far too aggressive today. And his pace should not put him in the position he's in. He has just not been able to stay out of trouble for 1 minute, unfortunately. And Nick gets a nice move there. Ooh, both those guys getting a bit close there, but Nick managing to hold the brakes a little bit better going into T1. I think Nick just went a little bit too deep there, allowing Gumi back through, but I'm sure with the 1 minute to go, I'm sure there'll be at least one more full lap for these guys. That battle is not quite over yet. As Finn is also in the mix as well. Let's go on board with Nuji and see whereabouts he is on the race. Oh, so he is coming through Sector 1. So this will almost certainly be the final lap of the race from Nuji. And he is very comfortably ahead. There's no possibility of him losing this race right now. Did we get someone joining the voice chat, or am I imagining things? No, I'm just me on my own. I thought I heard a phantom Discord noise. Oh well. And as the clock just about reaches 0, Nuji is in first place with almost a lap clear. I think that is just Alfredo up ahead on the banking, so Nuji will take the win today. Alfredo is almost certainly going to take second, and the battle between Zabuchu and Das Party Hut has been come significantly down after Das Party Hut's insane packet loss cost him a good 15 seconds on track, and that's a shame. Das Party Hut's had a really good race. And it's a shame to see he got punted a couple times and had some connection issues. Connection issues were definitely a theme today. We lost Lantern, Raph, and Darwell due to connection issues. Farwell disconnected but was able to rejoin, but unfortunately went from 2nd place to 6th. So, unfortunately, these longer races do just put a strain on people's hardware. GG Nuji, and Nuji is going across the line here and take, I think, what might be his 2nd win in charge. I think he might have won the Ginetta race as well. So either way, Nuji takes victory here at Split B at Daytona here for the Charge 2-hour 1-year anniversary. Great job from Nuji. Really, really good driving. Had no trouble at all. Really, really good driving. Let's just hope he gets well off the track before he does some donuts, because there's still an active race going on. Congratulations to Nuji. Great job. There are still people racing. There are still people racing. There are still people racing. I'm not quite sure who Shiny Waffles is there, but I think Shiny Waffles is still on his final lap, so I'd maybe take it easy for him. Oh no, and Shiny Waffles has finished, so he has now crossed the line. And Alfredo is on his final lap, so he will be coming around to take 2nd place eventually. Zabuchu has crossed the line in 3rd. And Das Party Hut takes 4th, only 7 seconds behind him, so penalties could come into play there for that final podium place. Fox is about to take 5th after a tough start to the race. He had a really good recovery and largely managed to stay out of trouble. Farwell a couple seconds behind him after that heartbreaking disconnect from 2nd place. That was a real shame for Farwell. He definitely deserved a lot better, I have to say. He had a really good race. That was so punishing that he got disconnected. Boz will take 2nd place after his choice to drive the Glickenhaus proved to be relatively fruitful as he full-on smashes into Finn. We try and ask drivers not to do that because that can hurt people's wrists with their wheels, especially if they have powerful wheels. Michael Ziomi will take 8th as 9th, 10th, and 11th, and 12th, and 13th have all finished. So we have the sole drivers Alfredo and Michael Ziomi, who are just out of sync on the track, coming to cross line in their respective places. Anyway, this has been the Charge 2-hour special from Daytona, celebrating 1 year of Charge. This has been Split B, and thank you very much for joining us, everyone, today. Appreciate all the watching. And these guys are all going to go and have fun, smash into each other and do donuts now, so we will end the stream for there, and I will come and join in with Tommy and Niels over on the main channel. So if you are watching, go to twitch.tv/ChargeSimRacing to watch the tail end of Split A, where the action is still going for another 20 minutes or so. Alright, thank you everyone, goodbye.